Welcome to the Bass and Brews podcast, your weekly distraction from other high-quality podcasts. And now, your host, Alex from Swamp Rat Fishing, and the co-hostess with the mostest, the Jabberhammer, Paul Roberts.
Hey-o! Welcome to Bass and Brews, your weekly distraction from quality podcast content, except this is the City Chronicles, and this is not a weekly distraction from quality podcast content. This is quality podcast content. We had to add this in to give us a little bit validity to the shitstorm that is regular Bass and Brews. And today is a little bit different than the other ones because we have one of the funnest tournaments that Queen City puts on. It's the Queen City Emerald event, which raises money. And we've got the people here to talk about that. And we have the winner. So I'm going to let them get into that. But before we do that, thank you for being here. And we appreciate y'all listening. This is going to be a good time. And I'm super excited. Not only do we have John, the winner, on, we have Brian, the owner of Biz Baits. And if y'all don't know who Biz Baits are, you're probably living under a rock or you're not from the Carolinas. And we actually got the head Ferreri in with us today. And no, it's not Vinny. It's Mary.
The real commish.
Yes, the real commish.
Thank you.
How is everybody doing tonight? Everybody answer at once so nobody knows what's going on.
Very good.
Wonderful.
Great.
Well, good deal. Okay. We're going to start off with John because he won it. All right, tell us the baits. How did you catch the fish to win, John? Tell us how you won. So when we go, y'all fish Norman, right?
I did, yeah. So it was a multi-lake event, but I was on Lake Norman, yeah.
All right, yeah. Tell us all that so I can make notes for the bass tournament coming up here at the end of the year.
All right, you ready? So it's a real short list. No, it all came down to Shaky Head. It's what I caught my first one on. That's what I stuck with the rest of the day. And that emerald green with green flat. That was the ticket. An 8 foot of water under catwalks. So
see, John had his shit together today because he didn't even let me finish. He went right into it. I was joking. First, we wanted to. That's my fault, man. I left a pause in there. When you're asking questions and you leave a pause, you leave room for somebody to answer the question. And that's not what we're going for.
That's right. I'm in sales. I'm a closer. So let's go.
There we go. See, so am I. So this is bad for Mary and Brian. Of course, Brian's probably in sales too. Since he does everything, be my guess. All right, John, multi-lake event. So what did y'all, every year you have a specific lures and baits and stuff that you can fish with. So tell us what that was. Give us a little quick overcap from the angler side of what the Emerald City event was.
Yeah, so this is only my second year doing it. But Friday night, the night before, we head down to the weigh-in location and pick up our bait pack provided by Biz Bait there. And it had a variety of different things, and I honestly don't really remember everything. It was a buzz bait in there, a spinner bait, some shaky heads, some Ned heads, a couple jigs. That's all I can remember off the top of my head.
And that's all you can fish with. Somebody's got an echo.
Sounded fine on my end, but okay. I'm not sure. But that's all you can fish with for the entire tournament.
Is what came in that packet.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously soft plastics go with it, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. With the shaky head, you get some sassy sticks or something like that. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the Dizzy Diamonds with Brian, the Ned heads or the little Ned baits and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I think it was a full pack of worms and a full pack of Ned Dizzies. So, and then you had some trailers and then Real Fear custom baits. I think he provided a pack of flukes and stuff like that. So Yeah.
Did y'all know what was going to be in that pack before you got it, or was it a surprise on Friday?
No, Brian dropped it. Was it a month before? Something like
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
about a
maybe
month
a few
before, so
weeks.
he had an idea. Yeah. Had a good idea of what was going to be in it. Thankfully, I throw bizbait anyway, so it's just another tournament for me. Um, but yeah, it was. I was looking forward to it. I did well. I took up fishing in general last year and finished sixth in the Emerald event last year. So I had a lot of confidence. Honestly, up until Wednesday, I wasn't sure that I was going to fish it at all, and then went out and was able to win it. So it was pretty cool.
Did you pre-fish at all for this, or did you just go out there off of some history and say, this is what I'm going to roll with?
Yeah, exactly. No, I didn't pre-fish at all. I actually haven't been on Norman since May, and but I did go to an area that I've caught fish in the past, just because I have confidence there. I live 5 minutes from the ramp that I went to. Just kept it simple since it was last minute, and yeah, just simple final.
So did you have anything wacky or crazy happen during the tournament out of the norm? Lose a fish, fall out of your boat, anything like that happen?
Yeah, and I have a very short temper. So if you watch the video that dropped today, so it would have been I think it would have been my fourth fish. It was another toad. Thankfully, I didn't need it, but you'll see I get it all the way to the boat, and I got that yak attack landing net thing, and we don't see eye to eye with that a lot of times, but it went right past the net, and then I was trying to fumble with it, so I just grabbed the line. As soon as I grabbed the line, it snapped my fluorocarbon leader. And so I'm sitting there. I did it in slow motion. I'm sitting there holding fluorocarbon in my hand, and the fish just goes away. And then, of course, I had to bleep it out and all that good stuff. But that was highly frustrating. And then fast forward 3-4 hours later, and like I said, I didn't need it. I caught a little largemouth, and was measuring them and not even paying attention. Just set my hand on top of him like I always do, and my pinky was just right on the edge of his eyeball. And it got denied there or DQ'd. So, but it was one of those things that at that point of the day, like I had so much confidence. At that point of the day, I was just laughing it off. But if I needed that fish, that would have been very, very frustrating as well.
So you caught all your good fish?
No, it was throughout the day, but I had it won. Not being arrogant, but I had it won by 10:30.
This time of year, we'll get that down here, at least in our lakes in the Carolinas. A lot of times, you'll have a good limit early in the morning if you caught a limit, or you got a good 2 or 3 in Queen Cities because they do 4 fish. You'll have those 2 or 3 good fish, and you're hunting for 1 or 2 more later in the afternoon that you try to sneak up on. Norman,
Exactly.
we know is a big spotted bass lake. Were you on spots or were you on largemouth?
A little of both. I think I had 8 for the day, and 5 of them I believe were spots, and 3 were largies.
What was your biggest?
20 and a quarter spot, and then a 1975 largie.
Ooh, a 20 and a quarter spot. That's a big ass spot.
Yeah. So
I mean, that is a mean monster of a spot there.
yeah. So that I tied my PB spot with that fish. But the year before in the Emerald event is when I caught my first 20 and a quarter spot, probably 500 feet from where this one was.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Well, I hope nobody knows where you were fishing because 2 years in a row you've kicked some ass in the Emerald event. So
yeah.
People might be sneaking up behind you and throwing around you next year.
Hey man, it's all good. I didn't blur it out or anything. I was just like, it is what it is. There's so many fish in the lake, it doesn't really matter. So
where can we go watch that video you losing the big fish and seeing you get upset? Because I've said it before on a lot of this podcast is if you want to like go viral or have something that people like to watch on social media, hook yourself, hook somebody else, shit your pants,
I saw
or
that.
lose a big fish.
Yeah.
Those are the things that will get you some views.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I actually did a YouTube channel last year. So it's just youtube.com, and then it's at House Fishing Adventures. Last name being House. Just kind of played on that. But it's just the newest video that's dropped, and you can watch it out or watch it there, and of course subscribe to the channel.
Hit the bell.
Yeah, hit the bell, whatever you want to do. But it's like I said, it turned out to be a pretty good video. It's kind of lengthy, but Turned out to be a pretty good one.
Well, man, that's great. Congratulations on the win. That's huge. And you know, you're fishing against the Queen City folks, and we actually had some folks come over from the Raleigh area that came and fish. I think y'all ended up with how many people did y'all end up with?
I think there were 70.
That's what I thought. 70
well, there were
on the
70
dot.
registered. I don't know how many actually fished, but
Well, hey, 70 paid. That's all that matters.
yeah. But I will say this, and Vinny confirmed it. You know, Queen City's been around for a long time. I think 9 years now, and multiple times on Norman a year. But I now hold the record for the largest bag on Norman for Queen City. So
holy crap! What did it end up being?
78, 75.
Woo! Y'all, this is a 4-fish limit.
Yeah.
4-fish limit now. This 78 inches. That's a nice, especially on Norman. You know, Norman gets some bad press about you go out there and catch a bunch of spots, but you know, this year when we've had folks on here when we've reviewed a Norman tournament, they caught largemouth, they caught big spots. I mean, that's a nice bag anywhere.
Yeah, that's what Vinny was saying. But you know, I was tickled. You'll see it in the video. There's a lot of emotions in the videos, being upset compared to you know, just every time I'd catch a fish after that third one, I was like, I won. So this is no catching it. But to beat second place by 11.5 inches, it was a pretty good day.
Yeah, you know what, you put it to them. That right there is putting it to them. All right. So next we're gonna move along to Brian. The Biz Baits Brian, man. All right, so tell us about Biz Baits and tell us how Biz Baits is associated with the Emerald event.
Yeah, so a little bit about Biz. We started, 13 years ago. I was making baits in college. It was something, I was originally from Illinois, so there's not much to do in the winter, and was making baits for fun, and started as a college project, and really didn't have the intention to make baits into a business at first. It was just kind of a hobby. And then I know that's how a ton of guys start, whether they're making jigs, making plastics, whatever. You just do it because you're trying to get into it.
What college were you at?
In Illinois, it was Illinois State University.
Okay.
Yep.
So what the hell brought you down to North Carolina?
Yeah, so change of lifestyle and weather. Let's get out of Illinois and be closer to the beach and be near a lake. So,
well, you picked a damn good place. You got a bunch of lakes and the beach is 3 hours away.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been down here for now 8 or 9 years, almost 10. So, but back then, just started making baits for fun. Dad's garage, the whole normal story, you know, and some buddies asked, you know, if they could buy some. I'm like, sure, yeah, here's some. So it was cool. So that's how it all started. Just year after year, you know, waiting tables, the whole 9 yards, starting out, and moved to North Carolina, took it on where the demand got to where it required full-time attention, but obviously didn't, you know, necessarily spin off a full-time gig or anything. But it was at that point of, you know, this is requiring a lot of hours every day, you know, just making baits and trying to get this thing pushed out there. And so that's kind of how it all started. And here we are. We have a small warehouse space now in Concord, which is just like 20 minutes from Norman, just outside Charlotte. Good group of guys over there helping make baits, ship, fulfill. So great team there. We always say, like, we welcome anyone that's in the area to come on by. You know, we're not a storefront necessarily, but we're a warehouse. We're making baits, and you can kind of see, you know, how we do that. So that's kind of a really quick overlap. So just how it started to kind of where Biz Baits is at the moment.
Did you have one of your baits that kind of took off and pushed you to where Biz Baits became what it is now?
It's a great question. I wouldn't say one bait. No, it's not like something catapulted us necessarily. There's been a lot of baits that have done well in tournaments where, you know, in this industry, guys can't or don't talk about it due to conflict and stuff. So there's been a couple of really large tournaments. Arguably the largest in this sport has been won on Biz Baits, but I can't speak to it. We can just connect some dots there. But that's really cool to know, but obviously no one else knows. So no, it wasn't, you know, one bait. It's just year after year, right? 10 years of just like trying to come out with some custom, unique designs that are truly ours, and formula, and taking care of customers, And just kind of the old school way, just letting every year follow the next and make sure you're taking great care of everybody and making a great product. And just, it's kind of slow and steady for sure.
Yeah, we got the Illuminati,
Yeah.
who did some damage on the college series last year and has been fishing the opens. And,
Yeah.
he's had a lot of his social media content has been packing lures and stuff during his off time at Biz Baits.
Yeah.
I'll have a quick story about Biz Baits. So, the V Twin is a huge one that you see all the Queen City folks fishing a lot, just the buzz bait in general. And I was at a national tournament earlier this year, and I was hanging around a buddy of mine. We were talking fishing as usual, sitting around a campfire drinking, and he had y'all's regular single blade buzz bait on. And this is a guy that does a lot of fishing. He's in the industry. I was like, man, is that what people talk about? And his words were, yeah, it's the shit. And so I'm not going to name him because it's one of those things, right? Like you said, he's not necessarily in it. But, yeah, so when he said that, I was like, and I told you on the green room, I've been buying one for like 3 months now and have not yet done it because I have so many lures.
Right.
I have not bought anything this year.
Right.
Except for a couple small things that I've lost. I'm trying to get it. But all right, so back to the Emerald event and Buzz Baits. How did this partnership with Queen City and the Emerald event come about?
Yeah, so we've been trying. So I had a small little 300 square foot space next to one of the main tackle shops on Lake Norman. It was a buddy, local guy, Shane LaHue, fishes the elites now. Good friend, we're the same age and stuff. When I first was in the Lake Norman area, we were in a 2-bedroom apartment. And I'm like, man, I got to get Biz out of a bedroom. My wife's lighting candles, trying to make the place not smell like Biz Baits. And I'm like, man, does your dad have like some extra space or something? And so he was renting the building where that tackle store was. So we were over there. We ended up, long story, moving into that spot. And like I said, 300 square feet, a little bit bigger than a bedroom, but not much. And while we were there, we were next to the tackle store, meeting guys, local fishermen. And that's where a lot of this really started to spin off, which was great. And that's where the adoption came from. And that's where Queen City and Emerald comes in, is, heard about the kayak, and Queen City was really up and coming, 5 years ago. And then as we got more and more involved with the club, Vinny and I were talking, and he's like, man, we should do the charity event. I think the first year they'd done like kitty rod, and he was like, they could only fish with kitty rods, which I was definitely like I was on board, but I was just still getting to know what their whole process there. And he's like, why don't we do like a Biz Baits event? And so we just tried to spin off, and now this year marks the 4th year of changing things up, or different baits, different colors, custom runs, a lot of customness within the run to try to have fun with the green and the emerald aspect of it. So just really being a part of the community and talking to Vinny, and then wanting to do what we can to just kind of have a fun fall, just for a great cause type event.
That's awesome. And how many years have you in Queen City been doing this together?
So this was the Queen City event. Like this was the 4th year. So we just wrapped up the 4th tournament doing it.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good deal. Next, we're going to go to Mary Ferreri, the real commish. I can't believe you didn't put that in your name on here. You just put your regular name instead of the real commish.
That's great.
Mary, tell us what the Emerald City, I keep calling it Emerald City. I have to apologize, but the Emerald event, Queen City Emerald event that we had. Tell us what is the purpose of that and why it started.
So I'd say why it started, Vinny has seen the idea of the Recovery High School come to fruition almost 5 years ago. And I think Vinny's had always a big heart for giving back and keeping Queen City still a family feel. So he's hosted charity events well before Emerald ever was a part of this particular August event. And then I think him knowing we're a nonprofit, so we work so hard year round raising money. And then a lot of our kids started asking Vinny in particular to go out and fish and kayak fish. And so I think he started to just see like there's ways to bridge what he does and what I do and help us just continue to support what I do. And that's, it's a unique school that we had started 4 years ago that helps young people in recovery to just have an alternative space of peer support. And it was a first in the Carolinas, and now we've helped another school open. But I'd say it's just Vinny seeing the vision, like start to where we are today, and to see it just morph but evolve and then grow in different ways and just be what it was even this year was wonderful. I think it felt anyway kind of big this year with everyone coming back to weigh in. It just felt really nice to have everybody come back and then ask questions and be just equally as grateful as I am that people participated. People were excited and happy to be participating in it. So it was cool.
Yeah.
What extra stuff is there involved in putting on a charity event versus just, a regular Queen City event?
Well, I get to see, fortunate to see behind the scenes and all the hard work that Vinny puts in with kind of asking folks. I can see his sponsors that help throughout the year in Queen City events get excited about throwing in custom things that are green colored. And I think people then have fun. So I do feel that this Emerald event with Brian helping with the baits and making it kind of unique. I love that it's a level, even playing fields for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I think that attracts a lot of anglers that may or may not be on the competitive level of the normal regular series. So it really does, I think open the door, one, to have more people learn about what I'm doing, but two, to get even more involved in Queen City. Of course, he had
Queen City, baby! Best series on earth! I'm out.
We got the pretend commish had to come in and
so we got a silly show. Yeah.
He threw you all out. You were rolling along.
I was rolling with what I've seen. So I think the sponsors get really excited was what I was originally saying. And I think the truth is when he established the connection and relationship with Brian a couple years ago, it's been not easier. I know it's hard work, but I know that we are planning it, and kind of once they look at each other or talk and say, hey, we're doing this again next year. And it's like, yeah, we're going to do it again next year. Then it's just a matter of timing the stuff out a couple months though in advance, just to get things lined up. Cause I know there's a lot that goes into it, but different than a regular event. It's hard to say, cause I get to see all of the prep for every event and they're just all a lot, but I think there's a little bit more fun around this one.
The money that y'all raise, does it go to specific stuff within the school, or is it just a general pot that it goes into?
This year,
how does it help the school is the question.
So good question. In years past, it was specific towards, like, we had 2 green kayaks and we still have fishing rods and tackle. But for this year, I'd say it's more for kids who can't afford to go. It's going into the specific kind of scholarship fund because we are getting more and more exposure. So that just means more and more families, whether they can or can't afford to attend my school. So it's kind of a big deal for this year in particular, one, because it was the most money raised this year. So it made even more sense to go towards a significant impact for a young person who can't afford to go to my school.
That's pretty awesome there that a fishing tournament, a kayak fishing tournament makes that kind of impact for a youth.
Yep.
In a school that they need.
Right.
That's a whole different ballgame. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty good. John.
Yes, sir.
You gonna fish it next year?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to defend that title, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all should get like a belt or a big necklace. You know how some of the college football teams have necklaces?
Yeah.
That should be what y'all carry to each tournament.
Yeah.
And you have
Don't
to wear
that
it at every tournament.
Vinny's gonna be all over that. He'll have like a fake diamond gaudy chain that like they have to pass from angler to angler.
That'd be hilarious.
Right. Every tournament, whoever wins at every tournament they fish in Queen City, they have to wear it during the tournament to show it.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's aggressive. So,
Ooh, I'll tell you what, in the summertime, it might not, but you might not want to
Yeah.
wear it because Vinny's probably going to have something that takes up half your chest.
yeah.
Bunch of cubic zirconium on there, hot.
Yeah, I wear a full life suit or a life vest too, so that would be brutal. So
It'd be
I
all in the
kayak,
way of trying to take pictures and stuff. That'd be fun. I think that'd be awesome.
yeah, I kayak fish, but I don't know how to swim very good. So there's that.
You got a vest on, so all you got to do is just lay back.
Just lay back and relax.
And you know, I don't know if y'all did Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or anything like that, but they always had the swimming badge. And to get your swimming badge, you had to be able to float for like a minute or something.
Yeah.
I can't float.
No.
Now, I was on the swim team, and they
Oh,
were going to
geez.
give me my swimming badge because I couldn't float because I'd start off on my back and my legs would just sink and then
Yeah.
the rest of me would just sink. So I have to wear a life vest. Plus, I've gained like 80 pounds over the last 2 years, but I swim like a rock, straight down. Brian,
But
Mary,
I will
go ahead,
say
John.
that the pretty cool trophy is the gym. You know, there's a lot of guys in the group that are still haven't got one of those gyms, and I've been blessed to get one last 2 years. So
Do you have one? You have one that you can put up on the screen for us close by?
I could run and get it.
Go get it real quick.
I'll grab it.
For the people that are watching that might want to see it, and everybody that's listening, if you go tune in at 26 minutes and 28 seconds, somewhere a little bit after that, he's going to show it. Brian or Mary, did either of y'all fish in the tournament?
We did not.
I have in the past, but I told Vinny, I said between what we put into it day of to fish and actually like compete and fish, because for me, and I think for him too, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna want to fish to compete. It's just we're gonna have to stop early. It's not really worth it. But it looks like there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, that is beautiful.
Oh,
That's
in
awesome.
the
You
red.
got 2 of them. I'm colorblind, but they look green and red.
They
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Oh, I got an orange tint to me now. So,
You had no sunscreen in that tournament, did you?
Yeah.
Folks, wear your sunscreen. Don't listen to Alex Swamp Rat Fishing. Wear your sunscreen. It's worth it. Brian, I'm assuming you're an angler by trade, by heart.
Definitely.
You got in. Okay. So do you fish any of the kayak tournaments, boat tournaments? What do you do fishing wise? Or probably nothing now since you got a fishing business. Everybody says when you get in the fishing industry, you don't have time to fish anymore.
So it's so true. Yeah. So I started the college team at Illinois State. So that's where competitive bass fishing started for me. Fished local trails. When we moved out here, was fishing BFLs, team trails on the boat side. Like I said, Shane LaHue is now, obviously really focused on the elites, but at the time he was making that transition. So had a lot of fun fishing different things like that. Haven't gotten into the kayak side. I probably need to, but I got 4 years ago, we had our first son, and then a year ago, almost to this date, we now have a 1-year-old. So like you said, man, between new dad, 2 kids, a growing bait company and trying to keep it going. I'm definitely distracted in other ways. So I don't fish as much at the moment, but still do it for fun.
You might need to dabble in some kayak fishing because the kayak guys around the Carolinas who use biz baits will fight your ass over some biz bait talk. I mean, they will go to war for some biz, especially the Sassy Stick. I mean, everybody's posting them and got them on there.
That's awesome. Dude, that means the world. And that's like kind of a cool touch. I didn't get to touch on Jon and Mary like that weekend. Last weekend was like, man, like I'm just a dude that makes baits. Now we have a couple more great dudes that help out. But like there's a really cool angle to this event. Obviously the great cause, but like if you can put yourself in our shoes with biz, like to know that there's 70, sometimes 100 guys that are just competing right now, and all they can use is stuff that you made in the warehouse. Like there's just a really cool element to that. And like, we don't take it lightly. That's why we love the event that's a secondary reason, of course, but there's just something about that Saturday. Like when I'm waiting to go meet Vinny and Mary, I'm just like, dude, like there's 70 dudes out there that are just picking through 10 packs of biz baits, trying to compete. It just puts a fun, different spin on it for guys that are making baits or a company just for a second. It's just such a rare format that it is really pretty cool to think about.
And folks listening, let's not skip over or forget to mention that all these biz baits are donated. You got 70 folks out there fishing with all these lures that were donated by biz baits. You know, when you think about small companies, and we've talked about it a lot on this podcast when we've had smaller bait makers on, about folks are always hitting them up for free shit all the time. They want free stuff. This is an opportunity for you to get some free stuff. I mean, kind of, you got to pay your entry fee, but everything's going to a good cause, right?
Mhm.
But y'all are donating all of these lures to this event.
Correct.
And
So
that is huge, and we gotta throw some hands up for that.
yeah, we appreciate it, man. Yeah, we work through, obviously it's Vinny and myself and Mary work out, obviously a smaller portion of, allowing the ability to put 14 packs, I think, or something like that, full packs of baits into a package. Now it's not 100% donated, but it's very much so that there's plenty of margin so that they can raise the money on these packages. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Like when there's 100 guys, I think we were factoring in like guys are the entry fee $75, and Vinny and I and Mary have worked out. We're like, look, let's figure out how to get $75 in baits. That way, when they sign up, they're getting the value in baits before they go to the ramp. Like you just went online and bought it. You got your value in it alone. Now you know that it's going to a great cause. You're competing. Like John gets a couple emeralds, bragging right. They talk about like raffle off a kayak and tons of other sponsorship prizes on the table. So it's just like so much great that comes together. And it's totally worth it from the angler side of it. And again, it all goes to a great cause.
Yeah, and you'll raffle off a native kayak, and my buddy Alex Sterling won that kayak and promptly gave it to his wife when he got home, and he was super excited. He made a couple of videos about it. Super excited that now his wife has her kayak for her to go fish with him, and he's already tricking it out. So that's awesome. Congrats to Alex on winning that too.
Yeah.
The bait packages that y'all put together, is this something y'all are doing a couple weeks in advance, or is this something like Friday night y'all sit around with some cold beers and hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill and start packing all the packs up to give out to everybody?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I wish, but also I'm glad it's not that scenario on a Friday. We work with Vinny on, how many anglers are there and trying to predict how much to make. And, when we're doing this custom color through our equipment, just having enough time to package it up and sort it. But I mean, yeah, it's
Brian, remember a couple of years ago, we kind of were doing something similar when we weren't sure how many people were going to come.
Yeah.
And I think maybe more than we anticipated, but you did plan just in case. But then we were kind of scrambling to put stuff together.
Definitely. I mean, I think like packages wise, like, like this year, for example, 10 times 75 is like 750 packs, right? So it's between jigs and buzz baits and, it's all that, right? Baits wise, it's probably a lot. So no, to your question, luckily we do plan ahead. We kind of predict there's definitely a little bit left over. We overshoot it a little bit. And then on the back end, if it's a custom color, we'll either move it, donate it for a good cause, maybe sell it on our custom shop on our website or something. But we make good use of whatever we overshoot. But we just try to get way ahead of it so there's no frantic panicking the week of.
I'll take some. I'll take some of those green fleck Dizzy Diamonds right here.
Yeah, you deserve a couple.
You're making custom colors for this then, it sounds like.
Yeah, so we try to have a ton of fun with it. Like it's you could get green pumpkin worms, but Vinny and I really try to put our heads together. Like next year already, or last year, like Mary talked about, right after, we're like, okay, how can it be different? And so like this year we had our new baby cutter crawl. So whether it's a new baits we released combined with new custom colors in those baits, the buzz bait color they got was a custom color that's not stock. Like, so we just try to have fun with it. The spinner bait was like, we called it emerald green shad. So it had kind of a green but shaddy look to it. So you're getting your value, but then you're getting something that's unique and not stock on the website. So again, just trying to really have fun with it.
Yes, so a lure like a spinnerbait, I wouldn't want to lose because it's kind of one of a kind, and then probably lose it in the first 10 minutes of me throwing it. That's what I would do.
Exactly.
I'd be over there trying to pawn somebody's for them. Trading
That's
stuff.
that's another cool angle of the event. You know, we get in and we hear about like, man, I lost my buzzbait in the first 10 minutes, or I was catching them on this jig and then I got it snagged. So like there's kind of that's why the event is cool. Like everyone does have the same stuff, but there's other elements to how are you going to fish it? What if you lose certain baits? What are you going to do? So
Yeah. And to your point on that, I actually with the shaky head, we had 2 3/16 and then we had 2 1/8 ounce. Well, one of my 3/16 broke off with that third fish, and the other one, I saw an overhanging tree on riprap, and I'm like, oh, there's a fish in there. I cast it in there right in the riprap. Couldn't get under there to get it. So that was just frustrating. So in my head, I'm like, how can I turn this 8? So I was just like, if I cut the hook off, put it over the hook, over the bait keeper, and then put the worm on, now I got a quarter ounce. Just trying to think of ways to get it down because they wanted that faster fall, but I never did. But it was just different things like that. You're just trying to think of like, how can I make this work?
Yeah.
It's interesting that does add a whole dimension into how you fish when if you've been out there pre-fishing for 3 or 4 days over the last couple of weeks prior to an event, their own green pumpkin. Most people probably have 2 or 3 packs of green pumpkin, and they probably got 2 or 3 packs of that shaky head. And so they're not worried about it when you roll out there with 1 pack of that and you're over there gluing worms together and pinching them off right above where they tear and stuff like that. That is pretty interesting tactics that can go into this kind of tournament.
And if you're a jig fisherman, I mean, you get 1 flipping jig and 1 heavy finesse jig, and like that's it. So like obviously, I mean, how many times you go jig fishing and lose a couple, right? So
every time.
Yeah. Luckily the soft plastics. Luckily, the soft plastics, they're full packs, but still, I mean, how many times do you go through a full pack of stick baits? You got to be careful. Yeah.
I was even reserving some of the Dizzy Diamonds. I'm like, if I go through all these and have to start throwing a wacky setup, I'm going to use these leftover worm carcasses. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's cool.
Mary, tell us a little bit more about the school and how we can help outside of this tournament.
I appreciate that. So I'd say the biggest thing that people, when they hear, oh, we're a private school, we are a private school on purpose because we want to be able to do a lot and be flexible and not have a lot of red tape and certain rules that kind of public dollars require you to follow, because our kids need to be able to just when we meet young people where they are, there's just a lot you need to be able to do. But I'd say I'd love for people to, one, know we exist, because there's a lot of teenagers that are struggling with substance use, mental health, and don't even know or think there could be an alternative, and that it's not a downgrade. You're not going to what one would kind of, I think, categorize in your head as some alternative school where you don't get a quality education, or it's watered down stuff, or it's a bit of a joke. We totally switch it up and have a lot of fun, but they're getting into colleges and universities across the country. We've had students get accepted to Berkeley School of Music, App State, local schools, out of state schools, 4-year schools, trade schools, whatever. And I'd want people to know that, that all the pathways we support, but just because we're private doesn't mean that we don't offer scholarships. We haven't turned one family away. Still, we're going into year 5. Wow. We haven't turned one family away due to financial strain or need. Partial, full scholarships have been given. We just ran numbers recently. We try to keep to 30, 35, no more, from just a business standpoint, to be able to support, operating expenses, to not go above that for a financial need. And if we need to, then we need to just raise more money. Well, last year we had over 45%, even at one point, where we were giving financial assistance. And we'd love to keep growing that number, but that just depends a lot on community support and fundraising. But just let people know, please, people talking about it helps to break shame and stigma around the struggles. And that's part of still what our society just, people point the finger of who to blame. Parents feel terrible that it's their fault. And there's just so many factors. And with such access that kids have in high school, in every high school, no one particular high school is doing it wrong. It's everywhere. And an easy fix to not deal with hard stuff in life I don't know about you, but I know I wouldn't be able to turn down, oh, like this will make you feel better, or you don't have to deal with hurt and pain. Sure, take this pill, do this, smoke this real quick. And then you don't know genetically or just how that's going to affect your body. And boom, you could be struggling truly with an addiction and or add to your mental health struggle. But the best place to go is to be around people who also understand the same struggle. And that's why I think our school is a little extra special.
Okay, I got a little handful of questions. What's the name of the school? You said you started a second school, I believe, earlier, if I'm not mistaken.
We helped another school open out, actually, I think by you in Raleigh, called Wake Monarch Academy. They're into year 3.
And what's the name of the school? And where's your school? Is it in Charlotte?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the name of that one?
It's Emerald School of Excellence, and it's in Charlotte, right by Central and Eastway. So it's just outside the city.
Okay. Can they go to your website if people want to donate or learn more? Where can they find the information to go do that?
They can go to emeraldschool.org, and everywhere on there, from scheduling a tour to come visit to donating to learning about what we do, is all on there.
And if people have a child or a family member or a friend that they think this would help, they go to that website that they can reach out to y'all to get information.
Yep, they can. Mm-hmm.
Brian. Oh, yeah. You're very welcome. Anything else, Mary? Do you have anything else to add on top of that?
No, I think I appreciate just this time to share. Just tell people about it. That's the biggest thing. People don't know we exist. So from, family members to just, you're talking, like you said, we're around a campfire right now. Just multiply that when you're out with your friends and family and say, hey, I just heard about this really cool school. Did you know it existed? That does wonders for us.
Great. It's great to know we have one here in the Raleigh area too. So we'll be able to, I'll be in touch with you on that to get some more information on that too. Brian, Bisbates, where are we going from here for the rest of the year, man? What's coming up? You got any announcements that have been made or coming up that you can share? Or what's exciting? What is exciting that's coming up with Bisbates in the last quarter of this year?
Yeah. So we actually just wrapped up going to ICAST for the first time in July, right? So as a company, a bait, maker or whatever, we, that's kind of a pinnacle. Going to the Bassmaster Classic, hopefully. Have you ever been to the Classic? Gone to a Classic?
Yeah, the last 2 years. Last year, I started making it a thing that me and my son want to go every year. So I'm trying to work out the details for Oklahoma next year. So hopefully we're going to make it. But yes, it's a great time, and to be on that stage and to be on the stage of ICAST, that's pretty damn awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is like when you're at that type of event, and that's why I was curious in Tulsa's a hall, but there's the Classic, which is obviously a huge event, consumer wise. And there's just so much energy that comes to that. And then this was our first year bringing Biz, kind of with a new facelift, a rebrand and new look of packaging and stuff too, with the new lead line. It just felt like the right time to go to ICAST and kind of, play in that game. So it was really, really fun. A little surreal. We're behind Strike King, right? You look over and there's the acquisition of, it was like Big Bite, but either way, one of those, D&J Plastics got bought out, which is Big Bite. That was the news that broke Wednesday morning at ICAST, right? So it's just cool to be like, this is an industry type event. It was really fun to be there and get the product and the name out there some more and talk kind of behind the scenes. So, fall things turn down. They get a little bit quiet, but we just put our head down, get ready. We prototype some new stuff, plan out already kind of what's going to be new. Get ready for Black Friday. We always have fun around that, which is scary enough, only like 2 months away. And we have a killer trade show season, which starts right in January. And it actually starts in your backyard in Raleigh. So if you go, please come by and say hi.
Yeah, sure.
It's a killer show, and that kicks off our trade show season in January.
I figured this time of year is when y'all probably have to actually get really geared up, as this fall winter season, because people start buying their baits, in the winter. I mean, they start wanting to stock up then.
Exactly.
Going through. Cool, man.
Exactly. Yeah, we use this time to get inventory kind of back up and build it. I mean, for those that don't know, we make everything from scratch in our warehouse. It's as American made as it can be, from plastic to the lead products. I mean, we're mixing raw plastic and glitter and pigment every day. So, like I said, come on by if you're in the area. We're always open. Would love to show you how it's done. But I mean, it's done in a 2,000 square foot spot right now, just a little hole in the wall. And so we need to take this time to get inventory back up, get ready for Black Friday trade shows. And it's weird to think about next year, like that 2024 is kind of close.
So making all these lures and all this glitter, do you have work clothes, and when you get home, you have to take them off before you come inside so you don't have glitter all over your house?
Yes, definitely. So, luckily, fortunately, man, I don't actually make the soft plastics anymore. Great dude,
So
Tyler.
no more glitter in Brian's home.
No more.
That's
But
done.
I
Let
used
other people
to.
make great glitter home.
I used to be covered in it. Every time I would go to get a haircut, and I used to get a buzz cut all the time. So it was like a number one. And every time the lady cutting my hair would start to notice glitter like on my scalp. And she's like, "What are you doing this weekend?" And I'm like, listen, I make baits for a living.
Yeah, right. And then you pay her with a bunch of $2 bills. And she's like, yeah, sure, you make lures.
Yeah, so now I got to explain that it's because of fishing lures, and it just gets awkward. Yeah.
I'm sure nobody believes that unless they fish.
Right, exactly.
Jon
But it's
House,
a messy gig, that's for sure.
Hey, there you go. Jon House, the winner, the champion. Man,
Yep.
One of the things I always ask the folks that are on here who fish a tournament in the Queen City Chronicles is, what's one thing that you got from this tournament that you could carry on to the next tournament, or, for you continuing to fish tournaments?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things, but the two main things would be, maintain confidence. It's easy to get down, especially if you lose a fish like that early on. But then two, trust your instincts. I had caught that fish when another 2 hours, if you check the video out, when another 2 hours hadn't had a bite. And my buddy, Slow Boat Fishing, and I, we talk on the radios quite a bit. I was like, man, we got to get out of here. They're not back here today. As soon as we moved out to the channel, that's when they started hitting. So, just having that instinct to move and then sticking with it, rather than, forcing my stuff to stay back in the creeks all day, really paid off.
Good deal. Back up for a quick second. Brian, where can the people find Biz Baits, and if they want to order lures and stuff like that?
Yeah, so if you're a fan of the Carolinas, we're definitely almost all the local stores within the Charlotte area. Up and towards you, we're working on a couple more dealers in the Raleigh area, but Bobcats out of Kerscott, that's a great store. Tackle Warehouse carries most of our line. And then if you don't have a local store nearby, then bizbaits.com. We ship daily. We take a tremendous amount of pride on getting stuff out really, really quickly. We know anglers need their baits yesterday, and so we get them out really quick. So if you want to order direct, we'll get it out fast for you.
All right. Good. You covered that because I skipped it. Thank you. John, tell us the social medias. You already said your YouTube page. Where else can we follow you in your fishing journeys and what you're doing with Queen City?
Yeah, so pretty much any platform is just at House Fishing Adventures. So I have a TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook page. So not really trying to grow any of those. I'm just on there goofing off, looking at videos mostly, but they all are geared towards focus and, pushing you or directing you towards the YouTube channel, which is just a hobby. I don't know if you know, but I had stage 4 cancer back in 2008. So I use my YouTube channel as more of a keepsake for my 3 daughters. So it's just a way to, make some videos, have fun with it, and then, leave something behind.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, too.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to start wrapping this up. Do y'all have anything? Oh, crap, shit. I'm forgetting one last thing. John, one of the great things about Queen City, and we cover it on every Chronicles that we do, and it's one of my greatest thing to hear these stories, is Queen City is known for the anglers that do really well are always reaching out to the folks that are new or who are struggling and are always helping. Have you been able to make some friendships and lean on some guys that have helped you since this year? You said your second year of fishing. Have you been able to lean on some of these guys that have helped you fishing and learn?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's almost anybody that you reach out to in Queen City is at least willing to answer some questions for you. And I'm a big guy on trying to gather information. Like I absorb it all, and they could be bluffing me. I don't know, but I'm still going to take it to heart and try it. So, but yeah, I mean, Bryce and West Fishing, you had them on there. I became pretty close with them, and obviously my buddy Mark Linden with Slow Boat Fishing. They, he's fished in the West Coast a little bit, so I've learned a lot from him. But then, Chris, he was with us last year. Chad Walden has helped me out. Mike Hicks has helped me out. So there's been several guys that I've just reached out to, and I'm not afraid to ask anybody anything. And, if they're willing to answer it, I'm just going to take it and see if I can apply it to what I do. But, like I said, I've asked so many questions to so many anglers. It's tough to put names on all of them, but those are the ones that I reach out to and rely on the most.
Well, if you want to up your catfish fishing game while you're bass fishing, make sure you holler at Josh from Abide Fishing, because he catches the biggest catfish during bass fishing tournaments I've ever seen. So make sure you give him a holler.
Preferably not, but
that's what he would say too. Well, look, any words of wisdom you want to leave, any of you want to leave us with, or anything else you want to plug before we end this?
Yeah, I'll go if it's okay. So I was blessed to be on.
You talked enough. Nope, your time is good. Go ahead.
No, I was blessed enough to be on Carolina Waters Pro staff this year. Nice. So shout out to those guys. They're over there near you, and they got hats and fishing apparel. It's fantastic stuff. But that's another great resource that we have a pro staff chat. I get so much information from those guys. Some of them are on kayaks, but most of them are on boats. But they just know fishing. So that's been a great resource. Obviously, plug myself. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in Lake Norman, holler at your boy. And just appreciate again, Mary with Emerald and Brian and Vinny and all the people. Man, it's a fun hobby that I've became addicted to, unfortunately, and just having a ball with it.
Mary, the real commish, anything you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I think this is such a cool example of what it means to collaborate and do something awesome together. More people need to do that. And I think this is just a great example. And thank you for showcasing all of us from this event. I think this was a special opportunity. So thank you.
No, we thank y'all for coming on, because we need folks like y'all, and we need Queen City and tournament fishing to come on here and make this podcast a little bit better than what it is with our regular podcast. Brian, I want you to leave us with some words of wisdom. Like, give us some Yogi Berra words of wisdom, and we're going to end this. You better don't mess it up either now.
I know, right? Gosh, words of wisdom. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, right. Never give up.
You should start putting that on your packs of baits.
Yeah, biz baits. Never give up. We'll get Ike after us.
Hey, all publicity is good publicity.
Right. Exactly. I mean, to touch on what Mary said, like just pay it forward, like help people. That's what we're about. And that's what I'm definitely about. I know, John's a great dude. I've gotten to know him now over these last 2 years, Mary and Vinny, getting to know you, obviously. Thank you for having us on the show, but just pay it forward. Like, so many times we can get caught up in what's in it for me, or what can we do here? I don't know if this is words of wisdom. That's what came to mind when Mary was talking about, just how this all came together. Just, we can do so much more together. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with the group. It takes many. And I look at that with Biz, but I also look at that with the club. I mean, they have a special group of people, guys and girls. It's so cool to see the camaraderie. Like Jon was saying, he asks for advice from so many guys, and they're all so willing to help, from guys that are just dudes in that club and hammers, helping guys that just are showing up and like, this is my first event. Even Emerald was the first event for many. And so, just words of wisdom would just be to just help people out. We're all human. We all have a lot in common. We all love each other. We don't hate each other like everybody may think. And just reach out, leave a lending hand, and it'll be a better place.
We all love fishing.
Yeah, we all love fishing.
Fishing brings us together.
Exactly.
This is Queen City Chronicles. We're going to call it Stop 8 because it is Stop 8, even though I'm not sure if it's Stop 8 in the schedule, but it's the Queen City Chronicles Emerald event. This is a great event. I'm so excited we got to have y'all on. Thank y'all for coming on. This is wonderful, for sharing your stories, your journeys, and what this event was about. Look, y'all, Bass and Brews Podcast, your weekly distraction from quality podcast content. Except for this episode, it was quality podcast content. So thank y'all for listening. Y'all hang out in the green room. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take this on out. And hey